Did you set your clocks back an hour? Because if so, you are right on time for today's new episode of LCJ Live. If not, hey, you can catch the episode on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram link, all of that coming up later today. But if you're with us right here live, thank you so much for being here. Hope you set your clocks back an hour. Hey, coming up on LCJ Live, we're going to talk about the box office. We're going to preview The Grinch. I talked to the two directors the other day. Going to give you some inside scoop on that, plus another big animated movie, Toy Story 4. New details on that from Tom Hanks. It is some crazy stuff going on with that movie. And the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards. Boy, I wish the show was streaming, but I'll give you the inside scoop on what's happening this Saturday night in Brooklyn, in New York City. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We'll talk about some of the nominees. I've caught up on some of the documentaries from this year. All of that. As always, send in your questions and comments because I have them right here. I can answer them, read them live here on the air. This is LCJ Live. Of course, we are live. We want you to be a part of the conversation at Bob Hall. We want everybody who joins the show to be a part of it. Like I'm talking with you guys, having a great conversation. So please send in your questions and comments. Did you see any of the 8 or 10 new movies that opened up this weekend? We'll talk about all of that right here, right now, because that's what we do. Bohemian Rhapsody. Congratulations! $50 million. That is amazing. That is a much-needed win for 20th Century Fox. This is a studio whose only hit this year has been Deadpool 2. Every other movie has been a financial bomb, from Red Sparrow to even Love, Simon, the latest Maze Runner movie. They have not made a lot of hit movies this year. Bohemian Rhapsody helps them out. Yeah, Bad Times at the El Royale bombed. Hate You Give hasn't been making as much money as it should. Bohemian Rhapsody, $50 million. That is great. That shows that there is a real audience response for this movie. People wanted to go to this movie. That's a bigger open than A Star is Born, by the way. And here's the really interesting thing. I saw the movie. I didn't hate the movie itself, as much as a lot of other critics. I think Rami Malek is unbelievable in this performance, and that's what a lot of people are saying as well. I gave the movie a C+, because I looked at what the movie does and Rami Malek's performance, evened it out, and gave it a C+. Rami Malek is incredible in this movie. Can he win an Academy Award? Can he get nominated for all these major awards for Best Actor? I think he can. This $50 million open helps him tremendously, because everybody who's seen this movie says, wow, Rami Malek's amazing, and the movie's got a lot of problems. And yes, the movie has a lot of problems, but what Rami Malek does over the course of 2 hours and 15 minutes is make you immerse in his Freddie Mercury. We get inside his mind. We understand exactly what he's going through in the dramatic dialogue scenes and in the showcase musical performances, especially with the Live Aid concert at the end. Rami Malek is tremendous. This is a performance that is going to catapult his film career to more starring roles in the next couple of years. Of course, he's known for TV's Mr. Robot. And I think it is going to help him immediately when it comes to awards season. We don't know exactly quite yet which category he'll end up in the Golden Globes. I think they're leaning towards drama, but they could switch him to comedy or musical for this performance. SAG Awards, Critics' Choice Awards, they all those nominations happen within a 6-day span in December. He could go boom, 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 go 1, 2, 3 for Best Actor nominations based on the rave reviews he's been getting and this box office play. Obviously, the BAFTAs, the British Academy Awards, could be in his favor as well come January, and then the Academy Awards. We will have to see. I haven't heard one good thing about the movie minus his performance. Is it that bad, says Bob Hall. It's got some problems. The story structure is a mess. The editing is a mess. The casting of Mike Myers, I think, was a mistake. A lot of people say, oh, Mike Myers was a super fan of Queen. Yeah, it doesn't mean you're a super fan of Queen. You can still be properly cast in a movie. Somebody called me out on Twitter for that. You can still be miscast even if you're a super fan of anything. You're a super fan of McDonald's. You could be cast in the wrong thing. It doesn't matter, okay? He was miscast in the role. It was a distracting performance from Mike Myers. There are a lot of issues, random graphics that come out of nowhere. It's a really predictable script. There's nothing there. Lucy Boynton as the key girlfriend character in the film is pretty good. She was great in Sing Street from a couple years ago, one of the best movies of the last few years. She's all right. That's the best relationship in this movie, is between him and Lucy Boynton's character. They are actually now dating in real life, Rami Malek and Lucy Boynton. and they are 13 years separate in age. We'll see how that goes. But other than that, yeah, there's not a lot else besides Rami Malek. But you should still see this movie because of him. And I think, yes, he can get in the Best Actor conversation, and he deserves to, because he gives the best performance I think I've seen in a movie this entire year. Bohemian Rhapsody, $50 million. Wow. The Nutcracker and the Four Realms in second from Disney with $20 million. Did a little better than expectations. Some had it as low as 15. 20 million I think Disney will take. I think this movie could keep its legs, could have some legs over the next several weeks along with The Grinch, because it's barely November and it's already a Christmas movie. So maybe we could see it getting to $60-70 million by the time we get to Christmas. The Grinch will do more than that probably next weekend, but still will also have some legs all the way to Christmas. The Nutcracker is a decent movie. I think it's a little slow. I also think the Clara character is actually a little cold, believe it or not. She's not the warmest heroine we've seen in a youth adventure family movie. But the costumes, the makeup, the hair, the production design, even the score, I think they're all big awards play. I think they could easily get Critics' Choice and Academy Award nominations for many technical categories, because it's pretty nice to look at. It's a nice film to watch. And the music is really good too. If you have 7 to 10-year-old girls in your family, they're going to love The Nutcracker. If you're not into ballet, this might not be your movie. But if you have 7 to 10-year-old girls in the family, go see The Nutcracker. Nobody's Fool, the new Tyler Perry comedy, opened in third with $14 million. Here's the problem. Number one, they did not promote this movie as a Tyler Perry movie. Number two, it's his first R-rated comedy. His fans aren't really used to that. Number three, it's the oversaturation of Tiffany Haddish. We just had Night School, which came in 12th this weekend. It's still making money. Another Tiffany Haddish movie? It's a little bit too soon. Now, the budget on this film was reportedly $19 million. That's it. So it's only $5 million away from making its budget back, so it'll get there easily sometime this week, and Paramount will be happy. But I'm sure Tyler Perry and Tiffany Haddish were hoping for a lot more from Nobody's Fool. A Star is Born in fourth. Halloween dropped from first to fifth this weekend because Halloween is over. We're already moving on to Christmas. Venom in sixth. Smallfoot, because it's still been the only animated movie out until The Grinch this Thursday, in seventh. Goosebumps 2, Hunter Killer, and The Hate U Give round out the top 10. First Man out of the top 10 after just 3 weeks. What a story there. Beautiful Boy, which I saw over the weekend. Steve Carell, Timothée Chalamet. Expanded, came in 13th, another $1.4 million. Not a huge fan of this movie. It's an important story to be told, but I wasn't emotionally invested in it as much as I wanted to be. Steve Carell, to me, feels a little miscast. There's a lot of scenes in the film where he's yelling, but he has such a high-pitched voice that style works for comedy and for animation. Doesn't work in this drama. Timothée Chalamet's all right. His performance in Call Me By Your Name was better. Maura Tierney's in it. Amy Ryan's in it. I want to come out of this film feeling moved. Didn't get there, so don't recommend Beautiful Boy, unfortunately. Was First Man a disappointment overall? Seems like it. Very good movie, First Man, but a box office disappointment, yes. What's it up to, like 42? Wow, I was thinking 45. It's only at $42 million. I bet Universal was hoping, and Damien Chazelle, for a lot more than $42 million. Now, some other new films opened up in limited release this weekend. Actually, a film that expanded, it's doing really well in its expansion, is Can You Ever Forgive Me with Melissa McCarthy. Another per-screen average of $6,000 in 180 places for $1 million. It is going to more places, including my neck of the woods, Albany, New York, this week. People want to see Melissa McCarthy in a drama, and she gets there. She gets you there about an hour in. She finally gets you there. So some new movies open up in limited release. One called Boy Erased. Lucas Hedges, Joel Edgerton directed and co-stars in it. Russell Crowe and Nicole Kidman. Opened up to $220,000 in 5 theaters. Per screen average $44,000. That's pretty good. I think a lot of people want to see this movie, and they came out opening weekend. Another movie that opened up, a film I saw several weeks ago, A Private War, starring Rosamund Pike, Jamie Dornan, and Stanley Tucci. Rosamund Pike is excellent in this film. She's always really good in movies. Made $72,000 in 4 theaters, per screen average of $18,000. That's pretty good as well. Not as big as Boy Erased, but an $18,000 per screen average is definitely respectable. Hugh Jackman's movie, The Frontrunner, opens up on Tuesday, this election day, in 4 theaters in New York and Los Angeles. I think it's going to make some money on Tuesday all the way through the weekend. I will be seeing it this coming weekend, and I'll talk about it next week right here on LCJ Live. So that's the big limited release play for sure. Lucas Hedges is in too many movies, LOL. Lucas Hedges... Look, he had Manchester by the Sea, then he got the role in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Now this year he's already been in 3 films, mid-90s. This one, Boy Erased, and he's in the Julia Roberts movie Ben Is Back that opens up in December. So yeah, Lucas Hedges is in a lot this year. We'll see if he ends up a nominee for my LCJ Movie Award, Roger Ebert Actor of the Year Award. We will see if that happens. Before we talk Grinch, let's talk about another anime movie making headlines, and that is Toy Story 4. A couple weeks ago, Tim Allen was on The Talk, and he said he could not get through recording the final scene of Toy Story 4, which opens in June. He says it's incredibly emotional. He compares the impact of it to Avengers Infinity War, and we were all like, okay, you know, you've been doing this character for almost 25 years. We understand your emotions behind it, but how in the world can you top Toy Story 3? Tom Hanks goes on a BBC radio show this week, and he says he couldn't get through recording the final scene either, and he calls the finale of Toy Story 4 a moment in history, whatever that means. And now we're all like, okay, there's really something going on here. What is going to happen in Toy Story 4? It opens in June. Pixar, I think, is taking the biggest risk they have ever taken as a movie studio. Bigger than any of their previous sequels or prequels. Bigger than Incredibles 2. Bigger than Finding Dory. Bigger than Cars 2. Bigger than Monsters University. The biggest risk they have ever taken because Toy Story 3 was so good. A phenomenal way to end that franchise, and yet they're continuing it. I've said it before here on this show. You can do holiday specials after Toy Story 3. They've done that. They're fine. That's fine. But to make another movie after that, it's going to have to be unbelievable. So we will see what happens. Toy Story 4. At Shellfish Beach says, can't wait, I assume, for Toy Story 4. Yeah, I can't wait either, but I am still going to be cautiously optimistic, sort of like I was with Incredibles 2, and then Pixar blew me away. So we will have to see what happens. Toy Story 4 coming up in June. The Grinch opens up Thursday night at 6 p.m. I talked with the 2 directors the other day. I'm going to have my Q&A with them up on my website and on Animation Scoop tomorrow. A lot of interesting details. They loved getting Angela Lansbury, who voices the mayor of Whoville, to be a part of this film. They talk about expanding the story from a 22-minute story to a feature length. If they can possibly go further in the Grinch franchise than this one movie, or do they even dare? And they talk about the moment they realized that Benedict Cumberbatch was perfect to voice this Grinch character. So that is all coming up in my Q&A with the directors of The Grinch tomorrow at animationscoop.com and on my website as well. I'm looking forward to seeing The Grinch. I am, because it's from the makers of Despicable Me and Sing, Illumination. They've made some great movies. But I'm also interested now, after talking with the directors, in seeing what exactly they did with this story. How they made it fresh, how they made it unique, how they made it different, but still sort of timeless and still relatable to the iconic story that we've known for 50, 60, 70 years. So we'll have to check it out, my Q&A with the Grinch directors. And the movie opens Thursday at 6. I think this film is going to make 50, 60, maybe $70 million this weekend. This is going to be a monster. I don't know if people are expecting it to be a monster, but one of the things benefiting it is the marketing plan. Because I talked with them about this as well. Have you seen the billboards if you're in a big city like LA, New York, Chicago, or online? You see all these sarcastic one-liners, tons of TV commercials everywhere. The marketing plan, according to these directors, went so far beyond their expectations because people are loving it. They want to get not just kids, but they want to get the millennials, the 25 to 30-year-olds to go to this Grinch movie, and I think it is working for them. So expect a huge weekend for the Grinch when we are back here next Sunday on another LCJ Live. But we got to talk about the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards. I'll be in Brooklyn this Saturday night for it. This is the 3rd year for the Critics' Choice Doc Awards. It's an award show that solely honors documentary films and programs in movies and on television and on streaming platforms. And there are a lot of big nominees this year, like Won't You Be My Neighbor, Free Solo, Three Identical Strangers, the Ruth Bader Ginsburg documentary. I know I'm missing a few. I got the nominees right here. A film I watched last night called Hitler's Hollywood that is excellent. It's all about German cinema from 1933 to 1945. Really good documentary. Also, documentary series like the Zen Diaries of Gary Shandling, which was really good. The Joan Jett documentary, Bad Reputation. Science Fair, one of the absolute best movies of the year, is nominated. A lot of sports documentaries from HBO. Let's see, we've got Pandas, the Nature IMAX documentary is nominated for some categories. So a lot of big, this is the year of the documentary, I think. It's a more mainstream genre than it ever has been before, and that's why this show is so important this year. Critics' Choice Documentary Awards. Bill Nye is hosting it. Michael Moore is being honored with the Life Achievement Award. Tons of stars are going to be there, and some of these prolific figures. We do a category called the most compelling living subject of a documentary, and oftentimes these people actually show up. So people like Ruth Bader Ginsburg could be there. Joan Jett, Quincy Jones, John McEnroe. They're all nominated for most compelling living subject. So I hope a lot of them are there. It'd be cool to meet them, as well as Bill Nye, the host. And I did meet Michael Moore a few years ago. It'd be nice to see him again as well. So I will be on social media all day Saturday, not only with my instant take on The Frontrunner with Hugh Jackman, but also with talking about the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards. Look for it to be trending. The show starts about 6 o'clock on Saturday. Look for it to be trending on Twitter at that time. Again, I wish maybe if you're a Critics' Choice member, you're one of the heads there and you're watching this right now, maybe you could pull out a streaming service or put it on the website on Saturday night, because I think a lot of people would want to watch this live. So nonetheless, I'll be giving you a lot of details across social media. Zen Diaries was amazing, says Bob Hall. Yes. Love the Zen Diaries with Gary Shandling. 2-part HBO documentary on his life directed by Judd Apatow. It was very good. Are you going to vote on Tuesday, LCJ? Well, I don't get into politics, but I will tell you that on Wednesday I am voting for the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards. So, in a way, yes, I will be voting this week for the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards. But if you are inspired to vote as well, please get out and vote on Tuesday. All right. So, Grinch is going to make a ton of money. My Q&A with the directors is going up tomorrow at lights-camera-jackson.com. And Animation Scoop. Bohemian Rhapsody is your #1 movie with $50 million. And watch out for Rami Malek. Though the movie's been getting horrible reviews, watch out for him getting Best Actor nominations. And I'll have all the details this Saturday night for the Critics' Choice Documentary Awards live from Brooklyn. It'll be the pre-shows at 5, shows at 6. Lots of stuff all over social media. Next Sunday will be Veterans Day. I'll talk about the significance of next Sunday, because next Sunday, Veterans Day, will be the exact 10th anniversary of the day I met Regis Philbin. I will talk about that next Sunday. Really cool story behind that. Along with The Frontrunner, The Grinch at the box office. The Girl in the Spider's Web with Claire Foy is also opening up, along with Overlord, which I think is going to be an absolute bomb. We'll talk about that and a recap of Critics' Choice Doc next Sunday, noon Eastern, right here on LCJ Live. I'm Lights Camera Jackson. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe and watch the latest video here. I'll see you next Sunday for Veterans Day for another new episode of LCJ Live. Bye-bye, everybody.